TSM wants to play front-to-back standard team fight.
What are the chances we get the Renekton run back?
On C9
Zero?
side?
Yeah,
Zero.
You think 0?
Really
Okay.
quick, I think the Zin
I'm gonna go with a non-zero chance, but still unlikely.
Yeah, I mean, it's non-zero. I mean, they did draft Xin, who, you know, is an AD jungler, and Renekton Xin is an extremely oppressive early game. So, you know, I don't think the issues that Perkz has had with Renekton are issues with him playing bruisers in general. So if they want to run it back, I wouldn't be surprised.
Lulu Cog.
Yeah.
Ooh, Lulu Cog. Okay, so leaning into the team fight.
Yeah, I love Lulu Cog, actually. Obviously, again, TSM, early look, we're looking for front-to-back team fight with Lulu buffing the Cog. It's been around for a while. For those that don't know, it basically allows Cog to frontline with no, with lesser recourse, I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, the Juggernaut days have been nerfed a little bit, but like you see here with the Volibear lock, and they clearly want that front to back like we were talking about. Yep. And I think this is the playstyle. We've debated this quite a bit behind the scenes, is like, what should TSM be doing? And I think especially in a high-profile match like this, where you're asserting for number one.
in here?
Not
quite what you're going for? Okay,
Yeah.
understood.
Yeah, I think it's unlikely that they draft the Lucian here because, again, if you're playing team fight, you don't need to get a huge advantage early game in order for Lulu Cog to make sense. So I would expect PoE to go from more of a typical control mage. He's, you know, favored Viktor, for example. That would fit totally fine in here. But, you know, a pick like, for instance, LeBlanc or a Lucian. Lucian, I think, is definitely no. There's a outside chance of LeBlanc.
LeBlanc just getting banned.
I also like the bit of a flex TSM has with the Lulu pick, because right now it looks on paper like matched picks in the first phase. So you have bot lanes and junglers, but in theory the Lulu can swap around a little bit
They
more.
banned out Bomb on C9 side, so they think it might.
She can go top or mid.
It's one of the advantages TSM's draft have right now is that they're not actually pinching themselves necessarily, whereas, you know, C9 is kind of arguably wasting bans with that Braum ban.
Right, they pull the Braum ban out of Cloud9. We'll see if it's intended, you know, that TSM was going to put the Lulu elsewhere other than bot lane.
I think the Ori ban is good too, because obviously it's a PoE special. I know a lot of people argue with me about this, but I feel like Orianna fits in so many different styles of team composition. So yeah, and then Aurelia last ban.
Yeah.
That's a Fudge respect ban.
Fudge and Perkz can play.
Yeah, Perkz is a really excellent Aurelia player.
He's a really good Aurelia player, and also Aurelia Xin Zhao would give a lot of pressure mid-jungle, which TSM I don't think wants to have to deal with early game. So, yeah, personally, I think it makes a lot of sense for TSM to even ban out the LeBlanc, right? They're saying, look, we want a really, really like conservative, straightforward early game. We think we have the mid and late. And on C9 side, now they're starting to draft more split push, more options like the Nautilus to sort of zero out the Cog early game. So I expect C9 to draft picks that allow them to actually try to punish bottom and get TSM out of the state where they can just farm into late game.
The one concern I have, as I like the Lee Sin pickup here for TSM, is that C9's comp's indexing very heavily on physical damage.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was like, this is an AD heavy team composition.
And TSM, in the current meta, when you have like 4 melee divers, a lot of them are not going to itemize armor that easily, but when you have front to back in the form of the Lee Sin and the Volibear, you actually have people who can build these armor items and become incredibly difficult for C9 to deal with.
Well, so as Viktor is picked up as the last champion for TSM side of things, we are confirmed to have Lulu going down to the bot lane. My question becomes, in that conversation around heavy AD, what's the solution? What's the final pick here on C9's side to kind of assuage those concerns? Is there anyone that deals enough damage in the form of magic?
I mean, you can always go match Control Mage with Control Mage, but that's not very common in the current meta, and I don't think it's necessarily the style that matches with the rest of C9's team comp. So I'm a little bit worried if they do end up matching with the Control Mage like Syndra.
There you go.
It's a little bit more early game oriented than some of the other Control Mages, so it's still playing with that, you know, mid jungle 2v2 style a little bit more. But it is a little bit surprising to see the Syndra reached for.
Yeah, and I don't think this is a situation C9 wanted to be in, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, I doubt they're going into this game saying, hey, we want to play Xin Syndra. That said, you know, it is an option for them to try to punish PoE, you know, off of, because again, they do have the stronger mid jungle, but at this point in the game, you know, the LeBlanc was banned out. They really, really needed magic damage, so they're just sort of just forced into that corner.
Well, we see up top that the fans feel that TSM won champions. Like, that's kind of the indication I'm feeling.
with the fans, baby.
I agree with
you
the fans.
as well.
I'm with the fans. I do think that if C9 can make some early proactive plays, especially, you know, Xin, we didn't call it out earlier, but it's been an incredibly successful pick for Blaber this split. So if he can get involved early and attack TSM early, I think it could end up like going a little bit better for them. But I'd give the slight edge to TSM's draft because I think they'll be able to just, it's comfort, it's team fight, it's everything that they want to be playing.
Yeah, and you know, in looking to C9, like they did draft a Jace, right? And you know, NA Jace, the whole meme and everything, but it is actually legitimately kind of hard to play around Jace. I think TSM's comp is just much more straightforward to execute. It's much more in their wheelhouse. So I think TSM won certainly from a stylistic comfort perspective.
And it's also one of those drafts too for C9. If they snowball topside, we're all going to look like idiots because they have those theoretically pretty good lanes. I do like the Lee Sin into Jace. It can sometimes work out for you. But if you know Syndra gets control topside, Zin's moving up there and they're diving and making plays, it could snowball really heavily for C9. But if it goes mid to late game, relatively even, you're looking for a TSM win.
Jace was a part of that perfect game for Cloud9, but as the players themselves are loading onto the Rift, it is my time to hand it back over to the casters for the call. Gentlemen, enjoy.
Thank you, Dash. Welcome back. Doug Duo still reporting in. I saluted. You can't see it, but I did it. As I testify. Did not. Oh, that's okay. Either way, TSM and Cloud9 are ready to do battle. TSM started the day in first place. They can continue to hold that if they win. Otherwise, if a Cloud9 win comes through, three-way tie for first among Cloud9, TSM, and 100 Thieves. Regardless, these are two exceptionally strong teams, but TSM 6-2 in summer to Cloud9's 4-4. They have not found consistency.
Yeah, they've performed better than Cloud9. For TSM, their struggles are more around like mid-Lucian, and there's some talks about like, oh, do some of these picks actually fit them or not? Cloud9 looking for an early move here, trying to sweep out a ward. They were expecting to be in Pixel there. Didn't find anything. Not much of a cost, but I think there's a lot of pressure on Blaber this game. You have got to be snowballing this game, and if you want to check out his point of view, it's the free pro view matchup this game, Blaber versus Spica, because Blaber is on this squad that is playing a very early game focused team. This is a team that has got to play from ahead, right? You have no shot in an even footing 5v5 later on in the game.
And by the way, since we keep calling out things that are going on around the game as well, if you want to catch the audio-only cast of the games, you can do that as well. If you're out and about and you don't want the visuals or anything else, it's available through League Day, so be sure to check that out as well. Meanwhile, though, we've got this game going on. Fudge definitively on the Jace says, okay, I want to play split push. In my mind, it is very hard to find yourself in a 5v5 where you beat Lulu kog'maw.
Yeah.
It's just hard to index on strong enough team fighting and other roles that you overpower what that brings. So I'm like, okay, Cloud9 probably playing for split push. But as Syndra came in, she is not a dedicated split push champion really either.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I think it's just about early game, right? It's about early power. It's about skirmishing and fighting, actually 4v4s, 5v5s around early dragons where their champions have a lot of power. Because they pretty much are kind of like down as far as team fight goes in every single role, right? You can argue like Ezreal versus Kog as far as like the situations in which those would be successful, but Viktor is generally considered, the better scaling mid laner. I would say Volley outscales the Xin, but they're looking for early action. They're looking to set up a dive here.
Level 3 versus level 2. Blaber is here. How much can they make this one happen? And they're waiting it out. The E is on cooldown. They're not going for the knockup. Now they've got Perkz, so is it going to be round 2 here? Blaber finds the knockup. Jace follows through. Huni flashes. Blaber drops the aggro. And Perkz is there as well. Fudge will lose his life, but Huni will lose so much of this experience.
Yeah, and I think it's still worthwhile. He's not going to lose that much, honestly, though. Maybe 2 or 3 minions of actual XP because he does have that TP and the short death timer. Still a good move. You've got to be proactive with this style of composition. You can see, though, TSM are actually ahead on gold because they got the kill back. Blaber is 3 camps behind right now. Yes, he has those camps to pick up, but Volley did a 6 camp clear when he spent all that time top. You're actually sharing XP with the Jace, so I would actually think that Jace is actually behind on experience off of this play because of the time spent up there. Spica, though, looking for potential play here on Perkz, who does have his flash, but Volibear, pretty powerful early game jungler here with the PTA. You can look to set up some plays, and we're going to see this dive one more time. There's just no shot of doing this in a 2v1 dive, honestly, with Huni at full health and still having his flash. So they have to wait for Syndra, but it's such a big investment of time. Perkz did shove in mid lane, so that is working for them. They get the knock-up here from Blaber. He tries to tank as long as he can. Perkz comes in, the knockback into another combo from him. So it's pretty well executed. Blaber, though, I think he should have taken one more tower shot. If he took one more tower shot, I think Fudge actually walks out, so a slight error there from him. And had they gone deathless on that, it's really good. As is, it's like, okay.
Right. The thing I'm looking at, because I agree with your point about the XP and gold, you can see, okay, there's minions still to farm, so yeah, it's going to be a lead for Fudge.
He'll be up to CS.
Is Fudge kept his summoners. He has his TP and his flash, so this means the repeat gank is easier, but also, that is a nice knockback there, so good damage on a Huni. But there's going to be some lane state where the TP is going to matter.
Yeah, and I agree with you, but it's not a guaranteed, right? You've got to then make that punish happen. TP advantage is fantastic. But if you just sit there and farm for 5 minutes and nothing happens, well, guess what? Who cares, right? It didn't do anything for you. So the onus is, again, on Cloud9 to then get back there and punish. It's often about that second play where you really get the biggest advantages in top lane. Even if the first one gets you a kill, when they immediately TP back, it's sometimes not that big of a deal, especially because he did get the trade kill there, and Fudge did not get the kill himself. So it's not actually changing the parity of that lane. You know, Huni will be actually up in gold in the 1v1. So they need to get that repeat gank. They need to try to kill him off again, and that's where he will really hurt. Because if you die again with no TP and you lose plates off of it, you lose the experience off of it, all of a sudden Jace is now running that lane.
And we're going to look to see Syndra running her lane. Perkz here on the Syndra has roamed better, has more CS, has first blood, has a 600 gold lead. Perkz right now, it's his world, and TSM are living in it. And I want to see what else Syndra can do. It's the last pick of the draft. He saw every other champ and said, this is what I want. This is how we win the game. It's off to a good start, but he's got to keep going because there is always the threat of lost in the 5-on-5 with Lulu buffing up his kog'maw. It's always going to be tough for Cloud9 to deal with.
The clock is ticking, and these games, at least in my mind, are always stressful. When you know that the opponents have a composition that is going to straight up outscale you, that you must create advantages, it sometimes pushes you into these spots where you're feeling pressured to get something done, and maybe you don't go for the best plays. You've got to be really on point with your execution. You've got to force plays, but at the same time, if you force a bad play and you try to overdive and they get a couple kills on Kog or something,
now you're behind and they outscale.
It's lights out.
All right, fighting for the bottom river now. Blaber and Spica see each other. Spica sweeps for the wards, is okay, no problem. But the bot lane is under the control of TSM. Thankfully for Blaber, he had enough room himself that he smited off the shield, then went for it. And Blaber, because Perkz had control of mid, was able to do that pretty safely. Spica could not join in on that one. Good damage out for Perkz. Ult goes in, nearly gets the kill. Oh, yeah, tight timings there. 80 health after a couple seconds of potion.
Man, that's crazy. I'm not going to blame him for buying a tier or anything like that, but if you have an amp tome there, you actually maybe kill, right? Because it's multiple rounds of spells there, plus the ulti. Of course, tier is pretty needed, and you can't argue that maybe he would have just been out of mana, but they're looking for the return play. May have to flash here. We'll see if he can land the Scatter of the Week.
Okay, flash stun's going to land in. Viktor over the top. No way out for Perkz. Well played to Spica to land everything. And TSM 2-1 on the scoreboard.
Yeah, I guess Perkz must have not had the E cooldown, or was kind of saving it. But probably was on cooldown there, because I think you go for that early. He also didn't want to early flash, and then if you don't early flash, PowerOfEvil arrives, he flashes in, all the damage has already come through, so that by that time it is too little too late. Woo.
Nice try, Vulcan, to land the Q, but this is what happens when you don't land the shot. You lose a third of your health bar, and it costs TSM basically nothing. This is what can make these lanes so tough, right? Guardian exhaust on Lulu means neither target is very easy. Relic Shield as well. Again, you're trying to eliminate the win condition. It doesn't really matter how much gold SwordArt has. It doesn't really matter when a Cytro combines. It matters if Nautilus can kill someone in the 2-on-2. If you cannot, you win the lane every time.
Yep, absolutely. And that is the name of the game. And Lulu Kog is just one of these champions that it's always talked about as, hyperscaling, gotta watch out for the late game, but they win so many 2v2s as well. And that's where I think a lot of the power does come. It's not this champion where you're just getting blasted in lane the whole time, you're trying to barely survive, and then maybe you can do something at 30 minutes. Like, they're winning, right? Yeah. They're actually winning the 2v2, because guess what? Range supports are actually really good in 2v2. Where they struggle is, well, it's harder for Lulu to face check a brush and clear out a ward. It's harder for Lulu to survive a gank. But if that doesn't happen, 2v2 is great.
Gonna hit Blaber, needs to ult away. Not gonna do so for a while, though. Exhaust onto him, has to flash back to safety, does stay alive. Volibear over the top, though, slows 3. And Perkz on his way out has to just barely live as the shots come through. Lost wants in, gets ulted, does not find the kill, but King can't do the same either. Physics shot's going to land, but there's no more damage available on the Cloud9 side. No one is dead. And they're kind of both walking away.
Yeah, I mean, Lost hard committed to getting that kill. wasn't able to get it. I'm not sure if he just couldn't actually get in range or, you know, maybe his W expired, so he lost that for the final auto, but he was 1 auto away from killing Perkz. Perkz hits him with the ulti and sends him packing, and that was double summoners committed there from the kog'maw. So when he goes in, doesn't get the kill, spends his summoners, and loses his health, TSM lose their ability to take Rift Herald off that. So that was a high-risk play. And they could have just backed it up and taken Herald pretty much for free after that fight because they won out so heavily in HP. But Lost goes for a bit of a hero play. It doesn't pay off. But there's not that big of a cost. It's just the lost opportunity of taking the Rift Herald.
It is. And double summoners down. What could have been a kill off by single auto attack. That could be tough to get right. Maybe his ult was out of mana as well because the stack up. There's a lot of things that could have factored in there that were just sidestepped or miscalculated or who knows what.
And we got to check in top lane. We talked about summoner advantage. Huni's got him back. Nothing happened. Blaber did not make the return gank happen. He has been largely passive, just farming it up. You know, he is up a little bit in farm after that initial play, so that's good. But you've got to make something happen. And now, to me, it's no longer about the top lane. It's about trying to punish wherever there aren't summoners. And that is Kog, right? Kog spent both the summoners there. So I would like to see C9 try to set up some sort of a play. If you can get a deep ward, look for a TP from Perkz or from Fudge or have Blaber get in there. You know, once Vulcan hits 6, you have that guaranteed point and click engage. And a kog'maw without sums shouldn't really be able to survive in that situation. But we are into a pause, and hopefully will be a quick one. You can see it looks like Huni may be talking with the refs
here. We're gonna cast some games. I don't want to get paused again. Yes, so for what we understand, we have Chrono broken back to the point. The game is ready to resume, and indeed we shall. Woo! 14 CS lead in mid. Overall 700 gold lead to Cloud9 as Perkz and PowerOfEvil do battle in the mid lane. Top advantage, mid advantage, both on the C9 side. Even up 3 camps for Blaber as well, so that's going to feel very good. But we still care a lot about what Kog Lulu does as time goes on for TSM's bot lane.
Absolutely going to be a concern there. It's also interesting to see the Zeal rush here from Lost. I wonder if he's just going to go towards like an instant PD. I mean, back in the day, people used to always kind of go more for the Hurricane style, but I haven't really seen that much of like the Zeal item rush in a long time. Most ADs.
Okay, kick flash puts Fudge, and he's going to flash Q back out. The slows could be pretty dangerous. Volibear over the top, and Spica kills him. But be careful, because Blaber and Perkz are here for reinforcements. Huni, we know he's flashless, has nowhere to hop to. Cloud9 get the trade kill. Spica on his way out. It was basically flash for flash of top laners. Perkz' ult gets himself a kill.
I mean, it's a great play from Perkz to be able to actually make this roam play, to answer with the TP, to be winning his lane, have TP advantage, get up there. But there's a cost, right? And this is the cost that we're seeing right now. It's not as though that farm is going nowhere. He had a pretty big lead over PoE. Now PoE gets a play. He gets to crash the wave, have a free base, reset, have the wave pushing back to him. We'll see if Vulcan wants to try to delay this. I think he will,
Yep, gets that one, and a good Q backward. Not really in, I mean, it's not going to matter. Ultimately, PoE's not going to kill the man anytime soon. But look at this, the bottom lane. Nautilus walked mid. It cascades. 3 turret plates taken to the bot side. That means so much more than the 6 CS lead for a kog'maw. He's super rich compared to King.
Yeah, absolutely. He is getting really a big advantage down there. So we can watch this one more time. Nicely set up, honestly, by Huni. Kick flash in onto Fudge. Fudge flashes, then jumps back to Huni, trying to create as much space as possible, but not able to close enough distance there to get away. But as Perkz does arrive, Huni's always going to go down here. Spica able to walk out. You know, maybe Blaber could have actually just tried to target Spica and allow Perkz to just go for that Lee Sin kill. Either way, I don't think he'll get the second kill. So it's still going to be a good play for TSM because you trade 1 for 1, but it costs the TP of C9. They actually lose a mid lane plate. Then Vulcan roams the cover. You lose plates on the bot side. So they do lose across the map there. They are ahead in gold, but it's only 300-400, and you take the composition into consideration, you think that TSM is just winning.
Yeah, it is Phantom Rush, by the way. First item for Lost here.
Makes
Obviously
sense.
A very, very strong item. Going to wait for a Mythic and build something else down the line. Mid lane crash isn't going to land through. I believe actually a full 3 plates got taken from that, or it was like 1 hit shy and a minion took the last plate, which means no one gets credit. Either way, still 300-something gold, maybe 4-something, regardless. Yeah, eventually it's going to drop. It should be below 1K. Oh, it is? Okay, it's still at 1K and 4 health. So it was only 2 plates taken. Fair enough. Minion did not get the last little bit, but it means Perkz can walk up and earn 160 gold at some point in time.
I don't know if he can, though, because the wave flare at this point is kind of too strong, right?
Yeah.
You don't just want to walk in with Viktor hitting you and then get gravity fielded under and int over a silly kill.
Wow.
That is a weird TP, but I guess he's just nervous about the dive. Maybe he thought Volibear's already behind him, so he TPs. Yeah, exactly. That's what it was. So he assumed Volibear was in that brush, so he TPs to the tier 1 to just get back there, but not just straight up int it.
Yeah.
Allow him to time out his arrival in topside with Blaber, so he would be safe here. So far, pretty back and forth game, but TSM have the ability to play it slow, and C9 have got to start to create some of these side lane advantages. You can see Vulcan is out of lane here, but the cost of him kind of moving out of lane is likely that bot tier 1 is just going to go down to Kog Lulu, right? They're just sacking that to actually have Vulcan move. They know that there's pressure on them to make aggressive plays, but the problem is, because they're not actually winning on the bottom side, now look how behind Ezreal is going to be. I don't know if we can see the gold, but that's a pretty significant advantage. It's 800 gold or so already.
Yeah, and I mean, it's Cloud9 playing to their stronger side. Now going to be another fight in the top as Fudge in a 1v2. Huge damage. Huni kick, follows the Q, gets the kill. Nicely done. No turret killed in top or mid. King maybe out of the turret once or twice, but I don't think he got a plate for it. And now TSM have a 1,000 gold lead, a ton of money on Lost kog'maw, and they're ready to go into the mid game.
Yep. C9 have looked for some plays, but they just haven't really got that much from it. And if you don't have winning lanes, then when you make a move for a play, there's a huge cost to that. Bot lane has been losing in the 2v2. They make a move with the Vulcan. They lose the tower straight up. They're down in farm. This Ezreal is going to really, I think, have a difficult time being very effective in this game. And Fudge is now, sitting on 0-3. He has the couple assists, but 2 of those kills have actually gone to Huni. So there's not even a gold lead up there. In fact, he's down 300 plus gold, so he's not even going to be really that much of a split push threat. If Jace is not ahead of the Lee Sin can kind of just chill and wave clear forever. There's no threat of that dive, so it's getting difficult to see where Cloud9 are going to really find their advantages other than just set up for a pick, right? Try to control vision, look for a Nautilus hook, look for a scatter of the weak, try to zero someone out. And that puts a lot of pressure on Perkz and Vulcan.
It does. And it's interesting because, the very beginning of the game, I'm like, okay, Cloud9 have a game plan, right? They're going to have mid-top prio and use that. That's how they're going to play the game out. They're going to be down a bit of farm. They might lose a split or two, but whatever. The game won't be about 5v5s if Cloud9 gets their way. And okay, cool, I see that, right? We're just playing around the J split push. Okay, sure, whatever. But TSM have done such a good job of attacking that lane back that even though Jace has been winning the lane, he's getting the most help. He's won 0-3 and 2, and Huni's the one at 2-2 and 1.
Yep. And Blaber really just hasn't been there, right? It's actually been Spica that's getting more done. Yes, Blaber is up in farm. Yes, they had that one dive. But Spica's got a couple of kills in addition to the one assist that Blaber also has, so it just doesn't really matter. The thing with Jace is, to win lanes as Jace, you've got to play aggressive. And playing aggressive means exposing yourselves to ganks. Lee Sin can set up these plays, can go for the kicks in. And if you're in that extended lane, Volibear can show up very easily as well. So this has kind of been the problem. If you're not being covered and you are going for a pushing lane and trying to dominate, well, there's a big cost to that. They're trying to make a play on this bottom side, though, looking for a potential dive.
TP comes down. PowerOfEvil does have to flash to get away as Jace and Syndra could have put on a lot of pressure. Ultimately, okay, teleport for flash. It's maybe mini wave denied. Nah, it's PoE safe to walk back to the bottom lane and claim it. I don't think Perkz has lethal pressure with a full health Viktor available, and Merc Tread's done, so he's not a viable target. And on the other side of the map, okay, C9 tried the aggressive play. It doesn't get them much of anything. TSM make the easy reactive play. Had the members top side, they grab the Rift Herald. No contest there, claimed easily.
Yep, going to be able to grab that for themselves. They've already taken out the bottom outer, the top outer. The mid outer is about half health, so that's pretty much one Rift Herald is going to kill that off. So they should be able to secure the last of the remaining outer towers here. Perkz still in a good position, does have a lot of strength here on this Syndra at this point in the game. Has the rank 2 ultimate. Mythic is completed, so a lot of burst available if he could find an angle to get onto the Viktor or the Kog.
Lee Sin Q lands Arcane Shift, well timed. Not going to go for any more than that. Huni, if he could have control ward hopped, flashed, done the thing, but like it gets reacted to, so doesn't go for the play into King here. Instead, we get the Rift Herald summon in mid, and that's going to be all 3 outer towers down for TSM as the second Drake of the game spawns. Cloud9 did get the first. Huni was able to get the local gold, walked up in time to get plus 300 onto him. And now we look at the bottom river. It's Cloud9 backing away. They did get at least top lane pressure. This is what a lot of teams, even all around the world, will get wrong. They will not do anything else. They'll sit there waiting for Dragon to die and be like, oh, they got the Dragon. Oh, we didn't get anything. But they said, okay, Fudge's TP, doesn't matter. He's staying top lane. He's getting the turret kill. Cloud9 gets something back for it. Just TSM got more.
Yep, I always just say commit one way or the other, right? You pick one of two routes. Contest Dragon, don't contest Dragon. The middle road is absolutely the worst option. If you're not going to fight for Dragon, don't even bother showing up. Just hard push on that side wave. PowerOfEvil, no flash. She is probably dead to rights here. We'll see.
Yep. Ults the wave to knock it down a bit faster. And here comes the rest of the chase. You know he has no damage to kill anyone. He didn't expect to get the kill. Vulcan walks back to never have a chance of stealing it. Perkz gets kill number 3. So good job there. The amount of money for that kill is worth about what the mid lane turret gives in gold, but of course the map pressure can mean a whole lot more. The game state is tied gold-wise.
I like that they give it to Perkz. He's already kind of ahead of the curve. He's their strongest member. And Syndra is one of these champions where if you can hit this specific kind of threshold of damage, if you can get enough ahead of the curve of the game, then Lulu's shield doesn't just stop your burst, right? Like if you can get so strong that you can one combo a cog, then the scaling doesn't necessarily matter if you can kind of find that angle, and that's what they're really trying to accomplish here because they know that they are in a tough spot. But if Perkz can 100-0 one of these carries, well, all of a sudden the compositional disadvantages are not really relevant.
No. But mid lane's under attack right now, and Cloud9 feel like they have a fair bit of pressure. The wave clear is not outstanding on TSM. As King and Perkz walk up, W auto, chunk goes the turret. 2-3 now the score as far as that's concerned. Bot lane still mostly untouched, but they've got mid and top back.
And we've seen some scrappy games where teams split push it out. You know, even looking to just TSM, right? The other day they played that game against Immortals where they had Huni just hard committed to the split push. They couldn't win 5v5s against the Zig composition anymore, but they played the side waves. They split it out. They were able to win, and Cloud9 can look for that sort of scrappy play here too. Fudge is very heavily just committing to playing in these side lanes. I don't think that they're going to be able to win most reasonable 5v5s unless you can kind of find an angle to really get in onto Lost, but they don't have a lot of explosiveness as far as they're engaged. There is the Nautilus, but there's not exactly that X factor of like a Gragas or a Lee displacing the marksman and putting him into a bad spot, or that really super powerful flank that could come through and kill someone off.
So we keep farming for now. Still 2.5 minutes. The next dragon spawns, not close to soul on either side, and even though Cloud9 got the first, TSM had been the one with control and they got the second. So maybe they keep that stat going. Mountain Soul would feel real good for a kog'maw. Honestly, that's going to do so much to just prevent the bursts from mattering. If your damage is few and far between, like with a Jace, the shield comes back, so you nullify a lot of that. So if it's really infrequent poke, Mountain actually is a good anti-poke soul. And similarly, if Syndra's only going after you once in a while and the shield's up, it's also good anti-Syndra soul.
I also wonder how defensive loss is going to go. You know, I'm expecting shield bow second, but I have seen on ladder a lot of actually just like randoing cogs and things like that, where they're just like, I have too much health, you can no longer kill me, right? And the base damages are such that it doesn't really matter. You don't need to optimize your build for that. You don't need an IE or anything crazy because you have a Lulu behind you. You have an incredible amount of damage. And there's also a lot of damage coming out of the Viktor, plus their top side, which is pretty strong at this point too. You know, it's a Divine Thunder or Volley. It's not full tank, so wouldn't mind that, and we'll see if he does end up going for it. I do think that, you know, Wit's End third here could make a lot of sense against this super strong Syndra. Maybe even just building up some flat HP could be pretty valuable here too with something like the Randomins.
The nice thing is he functionally has a lot of flat HP already, right? With the shield bow shield, with Lulu's Guardian plus E plus R. So if you're just doing like the generic math, you shouldn't need more raw health. You should be skewing towards defensive stats. I mean, Random's only has like 250 health on it. Like it's mostly a raw armor item. So it's part of why the item feels so good. Even if you're not getting crit very much, it's still just the most armor you can get in a slot outside of a Frozen Heart. So it makes sense even in that context. So that can look really, really good. We're 1 minute away now from the next dragon as we can start stacking Mountain Drakes for either team, really. If you get a run, you're 60 minutes away from Mountain Soul. It's not terrible. Right now, Cloud9 has to respect the fact that Baron is under fire, and Lost is going to melt this thing fast. Walk through mostly Fog of War, but Vulcan seems to know. SwordArt waiting around. The fact that the Guardian shield popped, they can see that, means they absolutely know Baron is being attacked right there. Able to come in time, but TSM went for that punch, and that means... Vulcan, he doesn't know they're in this brush. This is... Wow. He did have reinforcement. They were far away. That was maybe a possibility. and TSM flinch though, but they have no control of the bottom side now. This is a Drake probably given away to Cloud9 off of the risk to go for the Baron. Hook's gonna land, they want this fight. Well, they one-shot the Lulu. Syndra makes it so. SwordArt can't press a single button, but Volibear comes right back in. Trade support for support, and now the front line is getting dangerous. Blaber goes right back in, wants Huni, kicks in the squad. Jace's days are numbered, and it's a 1-for-1, but kog'maw is not dead. The important part is that Lost is alive. They don't find the next bit of engage, but Perkz still being alive makes this really tough to deal with. A 3v3 on the map. Cloud9 feeling comfortable.
It is that 2-for-2 at the end of the day. They're trading back and forth as TPs come through from the top laners. The flash being used by Lost as he was over the wall and wanted to get involved. He shifts in, but then he shifts in on top of the kog'maw, immediately has to flash back out. So he is now missing a pretty key summoner there. But TSM TPing, they want to stop this potential dragon, but
this will be tough.
Can they actually get over here?
Spica won't be in smite range in time if they burn it, but they don't know for sure where the positioning is. They could have burned it and gotten the smite. They didn't know that though. It's in range, they're gonna knock this one down. But how about the rest of it? Blaber knows he is gonna die, they're gonna leave him alone. I don't believe that means Baron, but they can try.
No, they're gonna go for sure. With your TPing back in, there's immediate pings onto it. Jungler is down. You can always turn, right? But threaten it. They have a pretty beefy front line. You have the shields there of Lulu, and you have the damage to actually knock this down very quickly with Kog. So I think they should threaten this, and at the very least, force Cloud9 to show up, and they do get that TP out, and they're turning!
The kick flash is how they got it! That's how they get the turn! The engage tools were so few and far between, but Huni's the one who finds it, and suddenly now, 3 versus 5 without a Syndra. This is gonna be tough. A miracle play from the Lee Sin top, and TSM poised to grab it. No jungler. There's not even a true shot barrage. The most you can do is throw a Jace Q, not even gonna get that opportunity. Spica secures it. Absolutely beautiful counterpunch by TSM. They grab the Red Bull Baron.
And if you're C9, you get that sick feeling in your stomach seeing that go down. This was a really smart force. They picked off Blaber off of this. And this TP is just simply too far forward, right? You needed a TP probably a further back towards mid lane and then come in, and Huni makes him pay. Gets right on top of Perkz as he arrives. The kick flash onto the Syndra, the strongest member of Cloud9. Without their jungler, without their mid laner, there was no shot at contesting. And TSM, they have the scaling advantage. They have a dragon, so Soul is not really in threat. And they have got everything going on right now. It's going to be Rage Play third for Lost. He does pit stop for a stopwatch. PowerOfEvil also goes to stopwatch. I think this is super smart at this point where, you know, I was talking about how does Cloud9 win? It's like the Syndra one-shot. You can stopwatch the Syndra ultimate and it just gets fizzled, right? It takes the cooldown. The orbs don't do anything. They hit the stasis, so that makes their job even harder. Those are the 2 key targets that Cloud9 knows they've got to kill. And it's getting really tough to do with a Lulu with exhaust sitting behind you and stopwatch available for both your carries.
True shot barrage. It's a cannon minion, nothing else. That's going to be on cooldown. If there is a C9 dive, they're missing a crucial cooldown for that fight. It might not matter anyway. If they try to clear away this wave, it will not save the turret in time, though, and TSM get number 4.
It's gone too.
In the mid lane, we've got Huni. No one's going to defend that one. Cloud9 running through the jungle. They're found out, though. Vulcan, anchors right back out. PoE ult, honestly, pretty reasonable. Gets some good poke. Perkz and a half HP. Mid lane outer is gone. Anchor in for Vulcan. Wants the stuns. Volibear ults away. Everyone stays alive. Blaber now in danger. Takes a lot of his health off, but everyone is at least going to survive this one. But we are burning cooldowns without so much as a kill. But it's not the champions that matter. It's the base that is falling around. C9, top and mid inhibitor turrets well below half HP, and the push is not done yet.
And Lost will heal right back to full off of this. He just steps up. Look at SwordArt's position, how far behind the Cog he is. He speeds him up. He's behind him so that he can never be the one to get engaged on first. If you try to jump onto the Cog, he gets shielded, he gets ulted, you get exhausted. That's good positioning, good stuff from TSM. Already 3 towers they have taken during this Baron. It's an exposed inhib on the top side, but they also need to know, you don't need to rush it, right? So they're not going to overextend. They're not going to give an opportunity for Cloud9 to be back to full health and trying to find that engage. TSM just extend their gold lead, pillage away the jungle, and will back it up and spend their gold. And that results in a full Rage Play completed now for Lost. The rich are getting richer here. TSM outscaling, big gold lead. and they are just looking to set up for this next dragon, very likely, which is probably some of the last hope for Cloud9. Like, yes, theoretically, there are additional plays you could go for, but, I mean, that pushes back any chance of a Cloud9 Soul to post 40 minutes if they get this next one, which is just really not tenable when you're playing against a comp that has scaling this good. You know, at that point, the death cap's going to be there, all the items are going to be there for Kog, and your chances of winning are just so slim.
All right, looking for the next miracle play, looking for the next big push in for Cloud9. They did not lose any inhibitors, so as the Baron buff is timed out, they theoretically have the equal push on any lane if they can swing it. Difficulty being the gold difference, obviously, and that means that it's almost certainly going to be TSM 50. You see Lost playing as far up as Spica is. He knows he has the ability to get out, has the, as you mentioned, stopwatch bot up, but flash and heal up as well.
Here they go.
Australia's popped. Here comes the fight. Spica frontlining. King has to go back over the wall. Vulcan forced a flash away. They almost kill Volibear, but not just yet. Now Blaber walks back in, but he's not easily going to stay alive. Burns his own stopwatch, but he's going to be left to the wolves. He does not live. Burns the flash. It doesn't matter. And back in goes PowerOfEvil, nearly shutting down the support of Vulcan. Won't find that just yet. Spica back to healthy, by the way, getting so much of his health bar back. And King can try to poke. He can try a bit of the wave clear. Mid lane hitter definitely gone.
I mean, they could just take double inhib here. They could just move up towards top. Blaber's still dead. And Cloud9 going to have a hell of a time fighting their way out of this. But if TSM wants to take the more risk-averse approach, just back it up. I say secure the dragon. Because if you lose a fight in Cloud9's base, they get the dragon. They get the potential of a soul. So I think this is smart for TSM. Just take incremental advantages. You are not the ones on the clock. You have the game in your hands. So play it smart, play it safe. This is the kind of style that you want to see with this composition. They will grab the dragon. They will delay any chance of a soul for Cloud9. They don't need the soul themselves to really close this one out. So just grabbing more and more items here. The completions are coming through. You know, a lot of their core members are already at 3 items. You can see Huni's on 3, PowerOfEvil's on 3, Ez is lost, and we can watch this fight one more time. They just don't really have the damage unless you find that big pick. And as soon as the Scatter of the Week is used, TSM just go for the engage because Perkz doesn't have his key pick tool. That was a really well-timed ult onto Spica to actually keep him alive from the Ezreal ulti. Then Huni just kicks in Blaber. You notice PowerOfEvil, great job zoning. He actually dropped the ulti on the corridor that Cloud9 were kiting back in towards. So Cloud9 have no ability to then re-engage and reinforce their jungler when he was in that stasis. And that is just really good zone control textbook stuff from one of the best control mage players in the league.
Absolutely the case. So doing a good job of supporting the bit. It is funny how we've talked about the kog'maw so much. He's the lowest KP on his team. He's just 2-0-1.
Yep.
TSM, honestly, doing really well everywhere, to be honest.
Absolutely.
But they were hard winning the lane. They got all 5 turret plates. Like, he's been the insurance policy. And Cloud9 just have been unable to wedge open top. Speaking so much to have Huni win. Huni's been a big part of the picks that have gotten them the Barons and everything else. And now we might see Cloud9 try again. Baron is alive. Both teams have 2 Drakes. And still, the top jungle is the area of contention. True Shot Barrage hits 0. Splits the uprights. King of 3-point shots, maybe.
I mean, it's this weird situation when you're playing against Kog, where it's like, Kog doesn't have to carry for TSM to win, but he has to be dead for C9 to win, right? Like, he has to be out of there, because you will never win in the extended team fight where the Kog is untouched. It's just not going to happen. And now TSM on the Baron again here. PowerOfEvil zoning, Huni in position. It's 2 men on the Baron, and they're trying to force the hand. They want C9 to hard commit, and then they will likely turn for the fight here, but PowerOfEvil is very sectioned off.
Huni kicks in. Goodbye to Syndra. Beautifully done, and now the rest of them will fall. 3-0 TSM. Get out of here, Cloud9. Lost is ready to chase him down. Huni there for good measure. Blaber ults. Does it matter? Of course it does not. 4-0 TSM in the fight, and it's time to walk it down mid.
What a kick! Huni around the Baron has been pure magic for TSM, finding Perkz both times. The critical member, he's going in, he wants the kills.
Flash in for the ace for the KDA, not gonna find any more of that one, but certainly these Nexus turrets are dropping rapidly. Second one's gonna fall as well. Cloud9 will not find the defense. They wanted to win through top, but it was TSM who did it. Huni, magical in every single team fight. The Nexus falls. They gotta feel good about this one. They take their time. Huni, magnificent play today as TSM retains sole control of first place.
And those kicks on Perkz, especially the second one, was sick. You know, that is really the nail in the coffin. Because Perkz is the only guy who really has a shot of, he finds that miracle team fight where he one-shots the Viktor, he one-shots the kog'maw. Maybe they have a chance, but it felt like Cloud9 never even got off the ground on this one. You know, they drafted for early game dominance. They drafted a composition that really has no shot in the 5v5. They couldn't get ahead. It was about Spica. It was about Huni. Proactive on that top side, attacking the Jace, getting the kills, and Cloud9 winning through bottom lane as well. The 2v2 was going great for them there, very far ahead. And it just felt like they made all the plays when they needed to. They didn't overforce where they didn't. Yes, PowerOfEvil was behind in his 1v1, but Perkz was shut down by incredible kicks from Huni in the 5v5s when it mattered. And TSM are so happy about this. They have been looking really good in summer, getting better and better. And you can tell how well they're all getting along. Like, they've been actually really vocal about that. All these other teams making roster swaps. TSM is just chilling hard, having fun, playing some League of Legends, memeing about the swaps, and they're looking damn good on stage.
They're looking very good. Hey, they've dropped 2 games, right? 7-2 so far in the summer split, but 7-2 is the best anyone has done right there. It's TSM and 100 Thieves, the 2 teams with that record of the last 9 games. Those are the teams that I have my eyes on. They're looking outstanding, really. TSM just fully deserving this one. Player of the game votes overall go to Spica. I know it was a split vote because I saw some Huni votes as well, but Spica, I think, really, really well deserved as well, to be clear. A big part of why top lane went as well as it did. He was everywhere on the map also. So you know, huge, just, you know, beautiful plays out of this Volibear, honestly. Got a lot done. The smites are on point, so 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to me, you know, I was almost more in the Huni camp, but it's one of those things where it's like, what do you value most? Do you value the consistent play who creates the lead, or who then has those bigger plays? You know, is that the more game-changing thing?
Yeah.
Huni obviously had some incredible kicks that, to me, shut the door on any chance of a Cloud9 comeback, but if Spica wasn't there to get him into a position where he was winning in topside, maybe he can't make those plays. And I think Spica really was deserving of credit. You know, we talked a lot about how Cloud9, you got to get ahead. Cloud9, you got to snowball these leads. Blaber, you got to be crushing it in the early game jungle. Spica got way more done, right?
He did.
And he is very deserving of the credit for that. Him and Huni on the top side, putting the Jace behind, felt like it shut the door on any chance of a split push for Cloud9. He was great in the team fights, won the smites when he needed to, and honestly, nothing to criticize from Spica this game. He's just been great.
It's actually one of my favorite things that has happened for the summer split is the jungle camps being pushed back 15 seconds. I mean, maybe it was players over-prioritizing hardcore in the first place, but the better junglers are not the ones who are up in farm. It's not the ones who are just cycling the camps every 2:15 when they come back up. It's the ones who are getting stuff done in the lanes. I remember you called it out, like, okay, well, Spica's got more, or
Blaber had 30
Blaber
CS
had more farm, and it's like, who cares? Volibear won the top lane. Better jungler wins in this case. Like, he got more done.
Absolutely. I mean, in that case, if that's your win condition, it doesn't matter if Volibear is behind because Jace isn't doing anything.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if Sinjao is gold because he's still landed kog'maw on the team fight. So well done, TSM. What a great game. We're going to head over to the stage where Latagers is talking with the TSM.